Welcome to the show, guys. 2023 is here. We are in full force. And yes, we are already diving into the content here on the #1 fantasy football podcast. So make sure you guys are subscribed. Today, we're talking about 7 sleepers. This is going to be an open discussion here on 7 early sleepers. They kind of jump out at me initially going into this 2023 fantasy football season. Now, these guys are looking pretty decent, like in regards to value on the Concheapsis rankings. I've already seen some Concheapsis rankings already come out, and man, are they disappointing. For example, Jonathan Taylor is not on top anymore. Neither is Cooper Kupp. DeAndre Swift, for example, is outside of the top 10. So is James Conner. These are guys that they were preaching and screaming at the top of their lungs that are top guys, and they busted. Even Deebo Samuel, right? Deebo Samuel, I said avoid Deebo Samuel because the year before, he had 8 rushing touchdowns. I said avoid him. He's way too expensive. Those numbers are inflated, predicated on the fact that they used him as a running back as well. He's not going to duplicate those numbers. Sure enough, Deebo Samuel busted significantly based on that. He finished 36, right? So, you got to see things before they happen. DeAndre Swift, they had him at top 8. I go, Swift has had years to wow us, guys. And guess what? We're not wowed. He busted. Taylor, very unlikely that he's going to finish on top again. Get Henry instead is what I told you, yet they had Taylor on top. So tons and tons of copy and paste errors is what they're doing, and they're doing it yet again, right? I'm looking at early rankings. I'm starting to see Josh Jacobs as a top guy. Last year, I have a magazine right here. Let me see. I'll pull it up here, actually. Got the magazine right in front of me. And I looked at it today, and I showed, if you're not following my Insta, make sure you guys are following at Fantasy Football Accounts on Insta. Jacobs and Saquon were actually tier 6 running backs, all right? And I'm telling you guys, now nobody likes them. So I don't even know if I could be able to zoom in with this particular camera here, but if you could see here, you won't be able to see it on this camera. But they're actually tier 6 here on this list. Now, again, follow my Instagram. You can see it better there. The point I'm trying to make is they're just copying and pasting rankings. So anyway, today we're focused on these sleepers, but I just wanted to give you guys some context in regards to how crazy this is. It's like they got to break. I'm going to break the cycle this year. I'm not even going to say it anymore. I'm just going to break the cycle of the Concheapsis rankings because that's how everybody runs their ship, and they're lying to you. So as of right now, guys, you can pre-order the 16-round draft solution. Make sure you guys link here below. Get it for the lowest price using the code EARLYLION. Not early bird, but early lion. Get the 16-round draft solution below because that is the truth. That will actually help you guys crush your leagues. Get it below, guys. 16-round draft solution. Enough with the copy and paste BS. Get it below. The truth is here. All right, guys? Fantasy football is going to change. Now, with these 7 sleepers, let's dive into it. Make sure you guys leave a thumbs up. Drop a comment below. Make it interactive, guys. Drop a comment below. I want to see who your sleepers are right off the bat. Again, this is early. We're just jumping in. I'm diving in with some content here for you. And these guys jumped out at me. Again, looking at the Concheapsis rankings, these guys jumped out at me initially. Again, there's tons more sleepers, and all of that's going to be in the 16-round draft solution. All right, make sure you guys order it right now. Pre-order. Use code EARLYLION to get it for the lowest price of the year. All right, first one here is Javonte Williams. I mean, this goes without saying here that Javonte Williams is going to be a stud, predicated on his youth, his talent, what we've seen the first rookie year. Now, his first rookie year, he had 203 attempts, but he was splitting with Melvin Gordon there. Melvin Gordon's gone. But in that time, 4.4 yards per carry, looked pretty solid. He got hurt last year, this past year, week 4. Now, again, you always get kind of concerned with a running back coming off an injury. Now, Saquon Barkley is a perfect example. Had the bad knee injury the year after, kind of took it slow, and then finally kind of, came out of his shell this past year. Javonte Williams could have the same type of case, but you got to take a look at a guy who's young, hungry, in an offense that needs to get going. They had a down year with Russell Wilson. The offense was not gelling. They had Latavius Murray step in. How is that going to look this year, upcoming year? Now, again, Williams is going to be the guy. There's no doubt about it. The youth, talent, hunger, all that is there. Unless they draft somebody else as a backup, which they need. But when Latavius Murray came in, 171 attempts, over 700 yards, and 6 touchdowns on the ground. So you're looking at a guy who's been, I would say, a little washed up in Latavius Murray, but still managed to get 171 attempts coming into the season after week, 5 or 6, whatever, and still managed to get that volume. So they are in need of that running back, and I think Javonte Williams will be there. Now, he's currently sitting 19th on the consensus rankings. Again, this is immense value for a guy that can and will be and should be the RB1 on an offense that needs to make some serious improvements. So Javonte Williams, again, sitting 19th, can and will be a big-time sleeper going into the season. So we got to see where he falls. Again, I explained all this in the 16-round draft, so you know when to draft him. Do you combo him with more running backs? Do you go robust RB? All this is explained in the 16-round draft solution when it comes out. Now, again, you can pre-order it right now using code EARLYBIRD for the lowest price of the season. And again, I release it 1 week after the NFL draft, 1 to 2 weeks, okay? Because again, after I see the NFL draft, that's when I know how everything kind of falls into play, all right? Second sleeper here, similar situation to Javonte Williams, but immense value. And again, I'm looking at the consensus rankings, the early rankings. I'm seeing these guys are devalued. Javonte sitting 19th, Breece Hall sitting in and around 18th. Now, again, both coming off big injuries to the knee, and I understand that. But from what I'm hearing with Breece Hall, should be ready for summer training camp. Again, both these guys, the advantage was they got hurt relatively early in the season, so they have tons of time during the season to have the surgeries, heal up, off-season, summer, training camp, and then get going. So they have a lot of time to heal, and the advantage is they are young, right? So that is a big thing. So again, we talk about these torn ACLs, takes around a year to get back to it, but sometimes, again, it takes an extra year for them to get to the full stride, right? But about a year, 9 months to a year to actually heal. So Breece Hall, again, another guy that's a sleeper, sitting 19th. This is a guy that was averaging 5.8 yards per carry when he was playing. He had 4 touchdowns on the ground on 80 attempts. He's 6'1", 220. He was a second-round pick last year. Tons of talent, tons of upside. I love myself some Breece Hall, but I got to see where I can get him in the draft for the right value, right? Coming at number 3 here as a sleeper, we're talking Fantasy Football Sleepers 2023. Again, this is early chat. Deebo Samuel, who's currently dropped significantly, 17th on the consensus rankings. The way I'm seeing it right now in the early rankings, he is going to be amazing value. Now, he finished 36 last year, but you got to understand, guys, that he was a little banged up. I don't think he only played 13 games. Had two receiving touchdowns, 3 rushing on the season. Now, in the wild card game, the time of this recording, we're going through playoffs right now. 6 passes caught, 133 yards, and a touchdown. Starting to look explosive yet again here. Deebo Samuel could be immense value at the wide receiver position next year. We're going to have to see what happens with the quarterback position because Purdy looks pretty good as a quarterback, so that connection could continue to work in the offseason if Purdy comes back and becomes the guy. So it's exciting, and this is what I told you guys, right? It's like you got no one to hold him, no one to fold him. Last year, I told you to fade Deebo Samuel. 8 rushing touchdowns the year before. He's not a running back, guys. Those numbers were inflated, but the mainstream told you to draft Deebo Samuel based on these numbers, not factoring in the overinflation of those rushing touchdowns. Another example was James Conner. James Conner, not the greatest running back, but had a ton of touchdowns, in 2021. Come 2022, they had him as a top guy. And I'm like, hey, guys, pump the brakes here. These numbers do look inflated. We got to compensate for that. And that's what 16 rounds does. So just terrible, terrible copy and paste. It just doesn't help you. Yet everybody continues to do it. All right. So Deebo Samuel 3. I got 4 more here for you. Again, make sure you guys drop a comment below. Let me know which sleepers are jumping out at you right off the bat. All right. Number 4 here, Chris Olave. There's going to be a ton of second-year players that are going to be breaking out or having, not necessarily break out, but having better years. I think Olave is one of those guys. I don't think Dalton's going to be throwing the ball. We're going to have to see who's throwing the ball there with the Saints. But this is a guy that finished 24th in fantasy points. He was a first-round pick by the Saints. They obviously believe in him. 6'1", just under 200 pounds. First year, over 1,000 yards receiving, 1,042, 4 touchdowns, 119 targets, and 72 receptions. Not a bad start. Not a bad start for a young wide receiver who, again, the offense drafted high draft capital in him, so I can only imagine him getting better. Big-time sleeper, Chris Olave, again, currently sitting around, I don't know where he's sitting. Let me pull that up, actually. I think he's like 20th or actually 24. He's sitting where he finished. Well, I should just put that together. Literally copied and pasted. So the Conchiefs have him around 24 already. Again, this could be great value in drafts. Chris Olave. You're getting a wide receiver 1 for a steal, all right? Number 5 here, Kenneth Walker. They got him in the top 10 right now. The Chiefs. This is a guy that all of a sudden they love, but last year they had Rashad Penny ahead of him. But I was telling you to draft Kenneth Walker. Now, again, people are starting to see, their eyes are starting to waking up like, oh my God, I've been lied to. This is simply just copy and paste. These guys aren't here to help me. Every draft kit, every podcast, every magazine, everyone, they're not here to help you guys. They're just there to give you a guideline. These are the guys that finished on top last year. We know it. Draft them in that order. Like, that's ridiculous, right? So that's why 16 rounds is a game changer. But Kenneth Walker, I talked about in 16 rounds last year. Penny, years to wow us, we're not wowed. He sucked. And he gets hurt all the time. Sure enough, exactly what happened. He sucked and he got hurt again. So Kenneth Walker stepped up. He was a second-round pick. I said that he's going to be immense value. Stash him on your rosters as part of a robust RB strategy. He averaged 4.6 yards per carry on the season, over 1,000 yards with 1,059 touchdowns on the ground. The guy's solid, man. Young, hungry, dynamic. Now, there was a game right before the fantasy playoffs where he kind of tweaked his ankle, left the game. I was pissed off. I said, hey, Kenneth Walker, you suck, get back in the game. It was just tough love, and he blocks me. So mentality probably a little weak when it comes to handling, criticism. But when it comes to fantasy, I don't care, man. I'm considering this guy as a top 5 running back, maybe first overall pick. Still very early, but a big-time sleeper based on value. Now, if you're probably lucky, you could probably get Saquon, swing back around, get Kenneth Walker. We're going to have to see how the drafts are laying out. Very, very early right now, but love myself some Kenneth Walker this year. Young, dynamic, hungry, talented. Can't handle criticism on social media, but besides that, amazing. All right. Number 6 here, you guys be like, 6 and 7 are kind of weird ones. They're older goats here, but we want to talk quarterback. And with quarterback, I always talk about anchoring your team with an ace quarterback and getting some solid backups. These two guys are going to be good backups. Number 6, I got Russell Wilson. I know it sounds crazy, but the Broncos invested a lot of money in him. And I'm not saying draft him as your QB1. What I'm saying is get him as a backup that could actually bounce back next year. I mean, he could only get better from last year. It was absolutely terrible. Or there's a chance that he's kind of just gotten over that, that hill and he's on his way down for the rest of his career. Very possible, but I don't know if Russell Wilson has that type of sheep mentality where he's kind of throwing his hands up and giving up. I think he believes in the Broncos. I think he had a bad year. I think he's had a lot of criticism. I think the coaching had some major issues. I think they need to get him another solid wide receiving target. I don't know if Sutton's the solution there. Javonte is going to come back. That run game is going to get back, going again. Again, a lot of this is predicated on how the NFL draft happens, what they acquire, what needs they address. Are they going to give them more weapons? It's going to be interesting to see what they do. But I do think as a backup quarterback on your team, as a sleeper, could be solid, okay? Now, he finished 16th. He's going to be in and around there. People may not even be drafting him. So, and that's fine. You're not drafting him either as your QB1, but maybe as a backup with upside, possibly. But he's going to be a sleeper, and so is Tom Brady, who, again, finished around 12th, right? Actually, it's a double combo. Both Rodgers and Brady finished around 12th and 13th amongst quarterbacks, and they're sitting around 16th and 18th. Brady's sitting 18th, and we got Rodgers sitting 16th. So again, if you want a backup quarterback, and I recommend you always get a backup quarterback to cover your bye weeks, to cover injury, to cover potential lack of performances, Brady and Rodgers could be great backup sleepers as well. So recap here: Javonte Williams, Breece Hall, Deebo Samuel, Chris Olave, Kenneth Walker, Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, bonus 1, Aaron Rodgers, but only as backups on these 3 quarterbacks after you anchor with an ace quarterback that's a little more consistent, young, and dynamic. And we get those, running quarterbacks right now. These younger guys doing really well. The Jalen Hurts, the Josh Allens of the world that are comboing the passing with some rushing touchdowns and yards. So again, guys, this is early sleeper talk, open discussion here. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys think. And hopefully now I'm opening your mind and say, wow, I was being fed the wrong information every single year of my life playing fantasy. The truth is here, right? So guys, make sure you guys grab 16 rounds, linked it below. Early lines, the code. That code is for a limited time. Get in now for the lowest price of the season, all right? I appreciate you guys being here. Let's dominate 2023. I'm going to keep the content rolling. We'll talk soon. I'm out.